Well, now, believe it or not, we're in the last chapter of my book, Four Views of I. And, well, let's just get to it. Individuating integration, action plan. Individuation is a word coined by Carl Jung to refer to the process of growing as an individual, escaping from automaton single-view life, breaking through the layers of crap piled on you from before you were conscious and self-aware. Family, friends, and society stunt the natural blossoming of your individuality. Your individuality is unique and intended to grow separate from everything else. It is all about experiencing life from a different point of view. Move past those Freudian slips you once understood. I'll try that again. Move past those Freudian slips once you understand where they come from. The filter between your subconscious and your conscious is clogged and bypassed. Years of skipping maintenance have taken their toll. It is time for an overhaul. To analyze the problem, a good technician will take a look at how the operation is occurring now, then compare it to how the operation should be occurring. I learned a long time ago, the first thing to do is determine what the machine is supposed to be doing. Only then can a systematic approach to finding the problem be formulated. Garbage in, garbage out is the saying to remind the technician to verify the inputs as they are as they should be. Let's define individuation for this book first with a definition derived from dictionary.com. Individuation, noun, the act of individuating, state of being individuated, individual existence, individuality, philosophy, the determination or contraction of a general nature to an individual mode of existence, development of the individual from the general. Now, as Carl Jung established the meaning, individuation is the process in which the individual self develops out of an undifferentiated unconscious. Seen as a developmental psyche process during which innate elements of personality, the components of the immature psyche, and the experiences of a person's life become, if the process is more or less successful, integrated over time into a well-functioning whole. Or, as I like to say, individuation is the process of troubleshooting your life. It is best to learn how to do this on your own because you are unique. Maintaining yourself is a very sensitive matter. There are times when you don't have the tools or time to do the maintenance yourself, so you must get help. Even when you seek help from others, you must know what you need. Troubleshooting. When I was troubleshooting an electronic cryptographic machine, I could go crazy replacing parts only to have the same problem occur. So the first thing I would do would be to take the machine offline and put a known signal into it. I would verify that signal was in the first step of the process because it could be the connector the signal was coming in through that was defective. It is the same thing with your car. A car is a complicated machine. Sure, they all have the same basic fit, form, and function, but each model is different. Even cars of the same model are different in some ways. How they are driven and maintained can be vastly different. One car could have 200,000 miles on the odometer, while the other only has 80,000 miles. Of course, the one with the lower miles could be in a lot worse shape if it has been driven hard and not maintained. As the saying goes, it's the years, not the mileage. Eye trouble. Let me tell you how I am addressing my eye problem. I used to call in sick and say I had an eye problem. I just couldn't see going into work. I suggest you get a notebook with at least 4 tabs in it. This book is for your eyes only. You will collect information and track successes. This book is going to be your own copy of the Individual User's Guide, a manual for eye exam. That's the letter I, eye exam. Yeah, you get it. You've got to reflect and connect. The eyes are the windows to the soul. See, there's a play on 2 words there. I put the word soul, S-O-L-E, and I used the word I, the letter I. See, the eyes are the window to the soul. Get it? Anyway. Be the soul survivor. Be the soul survivor. That's 2 different spellings of the word soul, by the way. You can give your soul away, and you can sell your soul, or you can keep your soul. It's the pearl of great price. It is worth selling everything to get it. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world but lose his soul? Do you have a soul purpose? A soul purpose or a souled purpose? On the bottom of your shoe, you have a sole. It is for walking on. This protects you from the harsh road. Is there a good wordplay analogy there? I think so. Sole can mean single. Sole can be the bottom of a shoe. It's best not to confuse the two. You will get walked on. Your manual and your books. What's on your bookshelf? You are what you read. Do you ever read? How do you keep track of where you are in life? Do you read science fiction or science faction? Faction is a word that means a subset of a larger group. Mind tripping. Let's go on a mind trip, a thought experiment. Imagine the truth of the universe is that whatever you think is true. No, really, just like Green Lantern, you can manifest anything needed. Now imagine that the universe adapts to grant every thought, but the thoughts of two individuals can cancel each other out. There is a safety valve on the universe that keeps things from heating up. Conway's Game of Life. We used to play this on graph paper. Life is an infinite, two-dimensional orthogonal grid of square cells, each of which is one of two possible states, populated or unpopulated. Every cell interacts with its eight neighbors, which are the cells that are horizontally, vertically, and diagonally adjacent. At each step in time, the following transitions occur. Any live cell with fewer than two live neighbors dies of loneliness. Any live cell with two or three neighbors lives on to the next generation. Any live cell with more than three live neighbors dies of overcrowding. Any dead cell with exactly three live neighbors becomes a live cell, as if by reproduction. The initial pattern constitutes the seed of the system. The first generation is created by applying these rules simultaneously to every cell in the seed. Births and deaths occur simultaneously in a discrete moment, which this happens is sometimes called a tick. In other words, each generation is a pure function of the preceding one. The rules continue to be applied repeatedly to create further generations. Does that make sense? What would happen if you started with the whole board with all occupied squares? Everyone would die of overpopulation. If you started with all empty squares, it would never have a chance for life. But if you start with some squares occupied and some empty, you could see life and death each pass. The idea is the starting tick provides the action for the rest of the time. So, God would have to separate the light from the dark, eh? Some people think this is what happened when God started the universe. He made all the rules, set all the pieces in place, and then let it go. The universe is continuing with no interaction from God. He is just observing. Time to go. Let's use the Chinese game of Go as an analogy of light versus dark. There are two types of marbles, black and white. There's a grid. Each player can place his or her marbles on the board one at a time. There are fixed rules to this game. No two games are ever exactly alike. It's a strategy game. You can use a Go board to play Conway's Game of Life too. The rules of Go. A game of Go starts with an empty board. Each player has an effectively unlimited supply of pieces called stones. One taking the black stones, the other taking the white. The main objective of the game is to use your stones to form territories by surrounding vacant areas of the board. It is also possible to capture your opponent's stones by completely surrounding them. Players take turns placing one of their stones in a vacant point on each turn, with the black playing first. Note that the stones are placed on the intersections of the lines rather than in the squares, and once played, the stones are not moved. However, they may be captured, in which case they are removed from the board and kept by the capturing player as prisoners. At the end of the game, the players count 1 point for each vacant point inside their own territory and 1 point for every stone they have captured. The player with a larger total of territory plus prisoners is the winner. Conway's Game of Life is known as a zero-player game. That is interesting, yet it still requires an outside source to initiate. This is easier to find an electronic version online to play than play with graph paper like the good old days. Back to individuation. We were talking about individuation and finding tools to help an individual become more so. The integration of the four eyes is the key, balance and control, just like riding a bike. Actually, a bicycle is a good metaphor. We have two wheels, physical and metaphysical. Think of the bicycle with the two spheres as wheels. Each sphere is two sections, like a baseball skin. Sacred geometry at work here. On a sphere, a triangle can have angles that add up to more than 180 degrees. That just reminded me of how waves out of phase by 180 degrees cancel each other out. Triangles are the only polygon with angles that add up to 180 degrees. We can perhaps draw some information from that. Anything with four or more angles has twice the total at 360 degrees, all the way up to a circle, which has infinite angles. Maintenance of eye is not something that should be debated. It is something you should never push off onto somebody else to do for you. There is nobody who can know you as well as you can. I know there are people who seem to know me better than I know myself, but realistically, it is an outside view and usually only of one or two facets. Going deeper in yourself is the only way to know yourself. Commit to understanding the only individual in existence you are responsible for. You are the only individual in existence you are responsible for. Look deep into your own eyes. The eyes have it. Write your own user's guide. One goal for this book to help people understand they weren't born with a user's guide tucked under their pillow. A journal is a great way to document what you discover. Sharing what you have found about yourself with loved ones may encourage them to grow too. One thing you must always remember is that what works for you may not work for somebody else. You may find a yogurt that does wonders for you, but your friend may be lactose intolerant, and it would do damage rather than good. How to write your own user's guide to life. You are the only one who can. You need to collaborate with others to zero in on what you need. You need to list the tools and fix-it shops available to you for the times you can't fix yourself. You need to pay attention to the help you do get and make sure it fits. You may find the tool you have to fix a certain problem will only work once. Sometimes a repair will change the way you work. Sometimes the fix-it shop fixes the symptom, but the problem simmers below the surface. This is why you must always pay attention. Know what those check engine lights on the dashboard mean. There is more than one problem that can make it appear. Switch hitting. It also brings to mind the first time I switched to playing racquetball with my left hand. It was comical, and the first game was really tough. But I started to get used to it. What was amazing was how the world appeared different when I walked out of the court. Everything just looked different. Here's the challenge. Write every day with your non-dominant hand. You don't need to share it with anyone. Just spend half an hour every day for a month writing with your other hand. It will be comical at first. You will be amazed at how much you improve over the month. Plus, you will discover and see things you've never seen before. Switching things up is important in life. Our body is designed or evolved to conserve energy. It will improve the muscles needed for a task you do frequently so that you can learn to minimize the cost of doing it. Continuous improvement is part of the design or evolutionary accident. This book is a discovery of self. It is not a book of regimented actions for you to take to be like me. Don't be like me. I am writing it because I would like to have a book like this. I would like to have had a book like this during my struggle. I could call the book My Struggle, but that's too close to the title Adolf Hitler used for his book. My book is not how following me will make you and the nation stronger. It is, however, a book to encourage you to make you and your nation and the world stronger. Stay mindful. Keeping aware of advancements and trends is a crucial part of your eye care. The coming singularity is frightening many people. I suggest a good reading of The Diamond Age and several other books by Neil Stephenson. Technology is a scary magic to those who don't understand it. We are moving into a golden age, not a post-apocalyptic nightmare most people are expecting. Oh, that brings me back to the idea that we are co-creating the world as we go. If enough people push for that scenario, it may happen. Stop doing that. By knowing what is coming, you can manifest to be part of the change. Ride the wave or get pummeled by it. The first in every step in individuation is to take action. A plan without action isn't a plan at all. Unless steps are implemented, nothing happens. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Let's not make the road to hell an easy road to travel on. That should be the rough and unpassable road. Two roads diverged in the forest, and I took the road less traveled on. Wide is the road that leads to destruction. Narrow is the path that leads to righteousness. Remember, an object at rest cannot be stopped. It also tends to stay at rest. It takes much more energy to move an object at rest than to divert the course of one already in motion. I suppose intention requires action. Intention is the second data point required with GPS, the destination. Intention is setting the destination. If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. Not a very efficient way to travel. If you know your destination and where you are currently, it is a simple matter of mapping out route options and choosing one. Start and finish are only two pieces of the info needed. Well, it is important to have an accurate map. Assuming the GPS has the map, the starting point, and the destination, it is only a matter of progressing forward. The continuous feedback of your current location and objects in your way, traffic patterns, and so on. It is only a matter of time till you reach the goal. Recalculating, yes, you will get there. If you start with bad intent, you may find the way difficult. Perhaps the universe will fight against you. Perhaps the intention of others will cancel you out. Service to self, people are working with bad intention. Bad intention toward others, but good intention for self. The basics. The four I's are instinct, intellect, intuition, and intention. These four are interconnected with one another. Instinct is surrounded by intellect, intuition, and intention. Intellect is surrounded by instinct, intuition, and intention. Intuition is surrounded by instinct, intellect, and intention. Intention is surrounded by instinct, intellect, and intuition. If we apply a color to each I, the triangles representing each one will have an edge of each of the other colors. That may be illustrative too. Let me see if I can remember the colors I applied. Red is instinct, blue is intellect, yellow is intuition, white is intention. Those feel right to me, but use whatever works best for your visualization. Once again, intention is the focus of the goal. The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. Keep moving. It is not the destination, it is the journey. The destination is the one source. This sounds contradictory. It's like saying, yes, Lord, but. If he is Lord, how can you disagree? Well, I believe free will is all about that. You are allowed to disagree with God. Running down the list of people you mustn't piss off, I would suspect the creator of everything might be at the top of that list. Collective intention. When JFK set the U.S. intention on safely landing a man on the moon and returning him safely, it was nigh impossible. But the nation rallied together and made it happen. The impossible became possible. Not only did we accomplish that, but there was a big list of products that were invented for the project and became ubiquitous. Did you know the cell phone you have in your hand has more computing power than the entire computing network used to land a man on the moon? Synergy only happens when free individuals come together under a common intention. Stay free and work willingly with others, not because it is easy, but because it is hard. Right on. Remember the power of the written word. Journal because your I matters. All Scripture is given by inspiration of God and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof and correction, for instruction in righteousness, that the man of God may be perfect, thoroughly furnished unto all good works. Create your own living and active Scriptures as you discover I. For the Word of God is alive and active, sharper than any two-edged sword. It penetrates even to the dividing of soul and spirit, joints and marrow. It judges the thoughts and attitudes of the heart. Join others join other manifestations of the one source at fourviewsofI.com in a collective individual discovery. Thus ends the Four Views of I. So I hope you guys actually understood some of what I read. I don't know. Let me know. Do you think it lends to being an audiobook? I'm not so sure, but perhaps. Part of the problem I see with it being an audiobook is the play on words that I use. Without seeing the spelling, you won't get it. maybe not. Anyway, let me know what you think, and that's it. I read the whole book. It only took 14 days, and so if you only read a chapter a day, you could get it done in 2 weeks. So just thought I'd let you know that. All right, that's all I got to say today. Have a glorious weekend, especially this weekend for those of you who celebrate Easter, and well, we'll call it Resurrection Day, but there's a lot of history there. Anyway, that's it. Have a good one. Bye.